All right. Everybody should be open on page 20. This Okay, this book is, or this excerpt that we're going to read today is called Training. It is from Black Beauty. I heard several of you say that you have seen the movie or that you've read the book. If you have Disney Plus, some of you may have Disney Plus at home. It's on Disney Plus. I saw it on there last night. And this is a really good, it's one of my favorite movies. And it is also a book. So you could watch the movie and read the book. But this little excerpt, this little piece of the story that they're giving us is really interesting also. Hopefully this will get you as excited as your boy did about Because of Winn-Dixie. Okay, we have 2 jobs today. Everybody look at your sticky note at the top. Our first job, Wyatt with me. Your first job is as you read, annotate details to help you create mental images, right? Underline mental images of Black Beauty and what happens to him. We talked about mental images for the past couple of weeks. What is a mental image? What is a mental image? Travis?
It's like say it said they were out in the field, you could see that in your mind.
Yes, something that you see in your mind is a mental image. What do you as an author, like when you're writing narratives, what do you have to give your reader in order for them to create mental images? What do you have to give your reader? Braylon? Details. Give me an example of some details that you might include. Like if we were talking about Impure Boy being in the grocery store. What are some details you could include for your reader to create a mental image? What's an example? Landon?
Like splash, the milk jugs went everywhere.
Okay, so sound words. Splash. When you talk about what you hear, they can create a mental image about the sounds going on. Okay, so the milk jugs went everywhere. So in my mind, I can imagine what? Milk. Yeah, and if they said splash, then they didn't just fall, but they also, they spilled. They went everywhere.
I've actually spilled.
Hey, Hayes, thank you for raising your hand. Give me another example.
Mental image.
Uh-huh. Like the Impure Boy during in the grocery store. What would be a mental image for that?
When he jumped up on him and licked his face.
Okay, so in the story when it says that the dog jumped and licked his face, you can imagine in your head a dog jumping and licking the manager's face. So adding details help your reader imagine what's happening in the story. Okay, that's our first job today. We're going to go through this story and we're going to underline some good details that the author includes. Good verbs, good sensory words that tell us either what the characters are doing, what they're seeing, what they're feeling. Okay, these are some things that we look for when we talk about sensory words. When you're thinking about mental images, you're focusing on sensory language. So those are words and details that tell you do what?
Your 5 senses.
Yes, your 5 senses. So words and details that will tell you about the 5 senses. So words that tell you what you might see, your sight. What do you see? Like the milk jugs falling everywhere. You would see them what? Falling, okay? Hearing. When he said splash, that's a detail that would tell you what you would hear. Okay? Touch. Like when it said the dog was licking his face. You can imagine that dog touching his face. Smell. Nobody gave an example for that, but give me one, Alyssa.
You could smell how dirty and gross the dog was.
Okay, so if they talked about how dirty and gross the dog was, you would be able to smell how gross he was. Think about a sweaty dog. Ugh. Okay, and taste. Maybe
The dog tasted the manager's face.
yeah, the dog tasted the manager's face. Do what?
The green peppers and onions.
Yeah. Yes, true. Okay, so any words that tell you what someone might see, what someone might hear, what someone might touch or feel, what you would smell, or what you would taste. If you see any words that describe any of these senses, they're helping you create a mental image. So we're going to read the training, and we're going to see how are the characters feeling. What are they seeing? What do they hear? Are they tasting anything? Are they smelling anything? Those are the things that we're looking for. Got it?
Right.
Any questions? What you got, Caius?
I've actually spilled a milk jug, and I think I have spilled a milk jug before in the store.
You have?
I think it was too heavy for Reed one time.
Okay. Let's read the foreword. Read the foreword for us, Wyatt. We are not going to read the whole story together. We're going to start out together, and then you're going to take over by yourself. But we're going to start out together. Go ahead, Wyatt.
Black Beauty is a story about a horse's life, told by the horse himself. Anna Sewell uses first-person point of view to give readers a fictional, first-hand account of a horse's life. In England, in the late 1800s, in the passage, Black Beauty explains the reader how he is broken in.
Good. Okay, so something really important here. It tells us the point of view that we're going to be using for this text. What is our point of view going to be? Nadia. Sorry,
First person.
First person. Everybody underline first person. Okay, if it is first person, that also means it's a first-hand account. We haven't talked about first-hand account much since I've been back from maternity leave. Did y'all talk about that from Sherry?
No.
Okay. That's something we talk about a lot in social studies, and I do think in the next unit we'll get to that. So, but what you need to know is if it's a first-hand account, then it is also first person. Okay? If it's first-hand account, it's first person. They're telling you what happened to them. Okay? So it says, Anna Sewell uses first-person point of view to give readers a fictional first-hand account of a horse's life in England in the late 1800s. So first person, we know, is a character telling a story about themselves, right? So is Anna Sewell the character that's telling the story?
No,
Why do you say no, Ruthie?
because the horse is telling its point of view from its side story.
Yes, the character telling the story is who?
The horse.
Black Beauty the horse. I want you to circle that. Horse's life, Black Beauty. So if Anna Sewell is not the character telling the story, why did they say that she uses first person? Bryson?
She's telling a story that she saw.
Well, we said that Black Beauty's the character telling the story, right? So why did they put Anna Sewell's name there? Why did they say she uses first person? Hayes?
It says she uses first person because to give the readers a fictional first hand.
So what's that mean?
To make it feel like the readers in the story.
Yes. Who is she? Like, if she's not the character telling the story, then what is she doing? Alyssa?
She's the one that wrote the story, so she decided to write it in first person.
Yes. So she is just the
Writer.
author, okay? Above her name, I want you to write author. She is not the character telling the story. The character talking to you in the story, the character that's telling the story is Black Beauty. Anna Sewell is just the author. So kind of like in the story that you're going to write later today where we talked about how you're going to be who?
The Crasher.
Remember, you're going to act like Willie, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to act like Willie. Willie will be the character telling the story, right? But you will be the one actually writing the story. Do you see the difference between the character that's talking and the person writing it, okay? All right, and in this story, they're talking about how he is broken in. Does anybody know what broken in means? You may know what broken in means. What do you think, Kobe?
I think of somebody breaking in your house. No.
Okay, I'm going to write some of the guesses, the predictions that you guys have, and then we'll read the story and see which one's right. Okay, Kobe says somebody breaking in your house. Anybody else have a different prediction about what you think broken in means, Ruthie?
I think broken in means like you get them to like use the saddle and the bridle and get used to it.
Okay, so get a horse used to a saddle and bridle. Okay. What do you think, Riley? Okay, so you think broken in means that they are hurt or sad? Okay. What do you think, Travis?
I think it means like you gotta break in the glove. Dang it!
So what does that mean?
That means like you're breaking it in where your hand can get better and you can squeeze it faster as the ball's coming to you.
So that means that the glove is what?
Break it in.
Give me some more words, though. I wanted to describe what broken in means.
Go to him.
What do you think, Hayes?
I would like to add on to Travis because you have to like break in a bat before you use it, so it doesn't like, so you can hit it better. Because
So what does that mean? Y'all are saying you gotta break it in, but what does that mean you have to do?
you have to like stretch it out and stuff.
Okay, so like stretch it out, get used to it. Okay. All right, let's read this story, and then we're going to come back at the end, and we're going to see if these are correct, okay? If you have something completely different, write it on your paper. We don't have time to share everybody's, okay? Write it on your paper, and we'll talk about them at the end, okay? No, you don't have to write these, just if you have something different, okay? All right, now we're going to read paragraph 1. I'm going to read paragraph 1 to you, and I'm going to show you how I create a mental image. Okay, which sight words, which hearing words, which smelling words, which sensory words I choose to create a mental image. Then we're going to do some together, and then you'll do the last couple paragraphs by yourself. Everybody ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, paragraph 1. What you got, Hayes?
How did they make the sun in the picture like glow?
I have no idea. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Whoa.
All right, paragraph 1. Everybody's with me in 5, 4, 3, 2. I was now beginning to grow handsome. Who is I?
The horse.
The horse, Black Beauty. I was now beginning to grow handsome. My coat had grown fine and soft and was bright black. I had one white foot and a pretty white star on my forehead. I was thought very handsome. My master would not sell me until I was 4 years old. He said lads ought not work like men, and colts ought not to work like horses till they were quite grown up. Okay, so if I am looking at this and I'm trying to think about what would I see, I'm just going to kind of go down that sensory list. What would I see? Okay, some things that I might see is a coat that had grown fine and soft. When it says his coat, it's talking about his hair or his fur. His mane. So they would be soft, and they would, if it's grown, it's gotten longer, and it's fine, so it's not real thick. Okay, that helps me imagine what it's going to look like. It's a little bit longer, it's soft, okay? And it says it's bright black. So I'm imagining this soft hair on this horse that's going to be really dark, really black, right? If I underline it on the board, you need it on your paper. Make sure you're getting it, okay? Riley, I'm going to show you how to do this one. You are going to do the next paragraph, okay? Some other things that I might see if I'm looking at this horse is one, white foot. That one is really important. So in my mind, I imagine a horse. The horse is black. His hair is really soft. And I'm going to see one foot that is what? White. Okay? And a pretty white star on my forehead. They need to tell me where that white star is going to be. Because if they don't tell me on the forehead, then I might think the star is going to be in the sky. Or maybe he's got a white star on his stomach. Okay? Or maybe his thigh or his leg, like down below by his heel. So it's really important that the author includes that. Okay? That white star, and now I can imagine it's on his forehead. Ready, Travis? I was thought very handsome. So I'm going to underline handsome because when I think about handsome, we're thinking about a horse that is very pretty,
Stylish.
stylish. Yes, are all horses pretty?
No.
No, not all horses. So I'm thinking about a horse that's pretty now, okay? Caius, will you take your hood off, please? Okay, it says the master would not sell me until I was 4 years old. He said lads ought not work like men, and colts ought not grow up like horses till they were quite grown up. Okay, so there's really nothing else there that I would see. I am going to underline, though, there is a detail that helps me think about just the horse in general. One thing that I would see, it doesn't tell me what he looks like, but it does give me a clue about this horse, is it says he would not sell me until I was
4 years
4 years old. So when I see this horse, I'm not seeing a little baby horse.
A big.
I'm going to see like a full-size horse because he is now how old? 4 years old. So when I'm imagining that horse, he's going to be full-size. So that detail is important also. Yeah, what you got?
I think colt
Uh-huh.
is an important detail because it's like showing the certain size.
Yes. Is he a colt anymore? No. So if he's not a colt, then I know that he's what?
Bigger.
Full size. So he's 4 years old. He's not a colt. I think those kind of go together. Yeah. Okay, so when I imagine this horse, I'm imagining a horse that's full size. He's really, really dark black color. He's got a white forehead, a white foot. And then they've also drawn a picture of him, which helps. But if I didn't have this picture, could I imagine what he looks like?
Yes.
Yes, because the author gives me what? Lots of details. So you can create a mental image. All those things, Colby, you said no, but all those things that the author told us, in our head, could we imagine what he looks like? Yeah, because the author gave us a lot of details. Okay? All right, we're going to read paragraph 2. And then you guys are going to share out to the class some sensory words that you see to help create a mental image. Okay? So read paragraph 2 for us nice and loud, Caius. Everybody follow along. Paragraph 2.
When I was 4 years old,
Squire.
Squire Gordon came to look at me. He explained
He examined.
my eyes and my mouth and my legs. He felt them all down. And then I had to walk a trot and gallop before him. He seemed to like me and said, when he has been well broken, and will do very well. My master said he would break me in himself, as he should not like me to be frightening or hurt. He lost no time about it, for the next day he began.
Okay. When we're looking here, what do you think are some details, some sensory words that help you create a mental image? What helps you imagine what's really happening in your head? Which words do you think help you create a mental image? Landon, what you think?
Trot and gallop. It's like saying.
Okay. What's that mean?
Trot means like a fast walk, and gallop means like a run.
Yes. So like a fast walk. And this is like a run, but he also had to do what?
He had to break.
Just a normal
Walk.
So he had to walk, he had to trot, and he had to gallop. Underline those. So that tells us what he is doing. What else? Alyssa?
It says he examined my eyes, my mouth, and my legs.
Okay, so if he's examining, what does that mean, examined?
It
Look
means
look.
he's checking him out, making sure all parts of his body are good.
Okay, so looking at them, checking them out, making sure that they are healthy. Hayes, add on to that.
I would like to add on to Alyssa because I see the word exam and examine.
Yes, kind of like giving him an exam. Good, Hayes. Using those clue words. The parts that you know of a word. Breaking that word apart. Okay, so he's examining the eyes, examining my mouth, examining my legs. You can imagine in your head, all eyes here. I know they're passing by, they're kind of loud, but troubles here. Okay, when he's examining the eyes, you can imagine he's like checking his eyes. Maybe even like a doctor, he might put a little light up there. If he's checking his legs, he might feel his legs and see how, like, if he's got any spots or masses, right? You can imagine that in your head because the author has given you details. Okay, tell me what else you see that would be a good detail to help you create a mental image. Riley?
When it says after examining my eyes, my mouth, and my legs, he felt them all the way down. I could see him feeling his legs all the way down.
Okay, so he felt them all the way down. So he didn't just feel his legs at the top. He felt them all the way down because he wants to feel his heels, his knees, his ankles, make sure his joints are healthy. That's a great detail. Good job, Riley. Bryson?
It says, as he should not like me to be frightened. It's not a sight.
So what is that?
It's like a feeling.
A feeling? Okay. So I think you're on the right track, but I think you're missing something. Does anybody wants to add on to what Bryson has so far? Hayes?
I think his master wants to treat him good so he can earn his trust.
Okay, so I think what you guys are saying here when it says he does not like me frightened or hurt, it's not something we would see, but it is a detail that helps us imagine what kind of person the master is. Okay? Alright, Travis?
It
Tell me the
says
next one.
he has been well broken in, so everything that like say he's walking and galloping and all that, he's doing it easy because he's been well broken in.
Read the rest of that. Start at the beginning of that sentence.
He seemed to like me and said when he has been well broken, he will do very well.
Okay, so is he well broken?
No.
Not yet. But when he is, then he will do well. Okay? So right now, but that is a good clue. That tells us he is not broken in. So he might be a little,
Lazy.
maybe lazy.
A little.
Sometimes
Get out of control.
A little out of control. That's what I was looking for. A little wild, skittish. Yes.
That's what I
Okay. Wyatt.
It says when he was 4 years old, you can imagine that he's pretty big.
Yes. So here again, that clue that he's 4 years old. Good. So you're thinking in your head about a full-size horse. Okay. Everybody have those on your paper?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're going to do one more together, and then you guys are going to do the rest. I feel like you've got a pretty good handle on it. Let's do the last paragraph on this page together, paragraph 3. And then you're going to go through on your own and do it, and we'll talk about it at the end, okay? Read for us, Nice Loud Braylon.
Everyone may not know what breaking in is. Therefore, I will describe it. It means to teach a horse to wear a saddle and
Bridle. Okay, hold on just a minute, Braylon. We have a lot of people not following along, and I know that the hallway is distracting. I'll close the door so that hopefully that helps. But I need your eyes with us. Because in just a little bit at the end of this, we're going to talk about what you heard. But we're also going to answer some questions about what broken in means. And if you're not listening to this paragraph, you're not going to be able to do it. So your finger needs to be right where Braylon is reading, following along. Everybody ready?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And to carry on his back a man, woman, or child, to go just the way they wish, and to go quietly beside this, he has to learn to wear a collar or crupper, and blinking, and to stand still while they are put on. Then to have a cart or a chase fixed behind so that he cannot walk forward without dragging it after him. And he must go fast or slow, just as his driver wishes.
Hey, so in this paragraph, the very first sentence says, everyone may not know what
Breaking in.
is. Therefore, I will describe it. So one is telling us the meaning of that word breaking in. So here he's going to tell us exactly what it is, and we're going to be able to see who had the right prediction. But he's also describing it. If you're describing something, then you're using a lot of sensory words, a lot of sensory language. So there should be a lot of details here to help us imagine it. Okay? So let's talk about what he's describing, and then we'll figure out what the meaning of breaking in is. Okay, what are some details that he uses to describe what breaking in is? What are some details that you see? Stella?
It means to teach a horse to wear a saddle.
Okay, so to wear a saddle and a bridle. So you can imagine a horse with a saddle and a bridle. And we'll talk, I'll look some of these things up for you to show you pictures just in case some of us haven't seen them before.
Yeah, they're
hanging on the fence.
Sorry, I'm not even looking at the picture. Let me.
That's a saddle and that looks like that's an animated saddle.
Okay, yes, this is a saddle. Okay, the saddle goes on his what? Back. That's where the person would sit. Okay. All right, so there's a saddle, and I've got a picture of a bridle I will show you in just a little bit. Let's keep on going, and then no, just a picture. I don't have a horse. Okay. So what else? What would be some other details? So to be broken in means the horse has a saddle and has a bridle and is wearing them. So you're imagining these things actually
on his body.
on his body. Okay, these things are on the horse. What else? Jerry?
He says he cannot walk or travel without dragging it after him.
Okay, what is he dragging after him?
A car.
Yes, okay, so he might have a cart or a chaise fixed behind him. So you've seen a horse that drags behind like a cart. Sorry, my mind went blank. A cart, and people put things in it. So in your mind, you can imagine a horse carrying something like that behind them. Nadia?
To go just the way the driver wishes.
Okay, so if it says to go the way that the driver wishes, that means that you can imagine on this saddle actually having a what there?
A
A driver. So in my head, I'm imagining a full-grown, this black horse with a white star, white foot. He's got a cart behind him. It's got a saddle, and now there's a driver on top of that saddle, like a man or a woman actually sitting on the horse. All these details help me imagine that. Okay? Landon?
It's not like a detail, but when you said like the driver was on the horse with the cart, it made me
Sometimes the driver... Go ahead.
They're on the cart and they have a whip to like tell the horse.
Sometimes if it's a big cart, then the driver will sit in the cart. But sometimes if it's just a little bitty thing, then the driver might sit on the horse with the... So it depends on how big the cart is. What they're pulling. Okay, what would be another detail? Bryson?
Go just the way they wish and to go quietly.
Okay, so thinking about going maybe a couple different ways, and the horse would need to go quietly. So that means the horse isn't bucking up, the horse isn't making a lot of noise, the horse is being real what?
Calm.
Steady, calm. Good. I love those words you're using. That's synonyms. Yes, Wyatt.
And to carry on his back a man, woman, or child.
Okay, so again, imagining that driver, if they're carrying something on their back, if they're carrying a man or a woman or a child, that would be the driver, the person they're carrying. Travis?
This ain't something, but there's something wrong with this sentence.
What?
You ain't allowed to start a sentence with and, are you? Oh, you.
No, we are not. Yes, sometimes authors will use things that are not proper grammar to make the story more interesting, but we are not doing that because that's not correct.
This was wrote in a different country. Cause it says here, the British author Anna Sewell.
And well, sometimes, like if you've read the Junie B. Jones story books, their chapter books, Junie B. Jones, there's a lot of grammar issues. But because the character, Wyatt, if you'll listen, I'm telling you about it. The character in Junie B. Jones is like a little girl that's in first, second, third. It kind of follows her as she goes up through the grades. And so if you think about the way that a child that young would talk, then the grammar is not always correct. So sometimes they do things grammatically that are incorrect just to make the story more interesting. Okay, but a good eye, Travis. Hey, there is something here that we're really missing. Something here we're really missing. There's something really important when they're broken in, something real big that they need to be able to do. Jerry, you're not even looking for it. You need to be looking in this paragraph. What do you think this is really important this horse needs to be able to do in order to be broken in? What do you think, Ruthie?
It needs to, besides it needs to learn how to wear a collar and cufflink and breeching to stand still while they are putting on.
Yes, he needs to learn to wear all these things, a collar, a crupper, a breeching. But not only that, he's got to be able to stand still while they're putting it on. Okay, so think about all these heavy things that you would put on a horse, like this saddle. If he doesn't want that on there, he could buck. He could try to walk away, run away. But if you've broken him in, then he's got to stand there still. So in my mind, I'm imagining this big horse just standing there real still, real calm. Bryson said real steady while the master's putting all these things on them, right? That would be what word means this?
Broken in.
Broken in. So broken in means that he's not real wild, he's not running off, he's not real violent, he's calm, and he kind of just lets his master do whatever the master wants, right? He's trained. So to be broken in means that you are trained, which goes back to the
Question.
what?
Story. The forward.
What's your title?
Training.
Training. So this person, Gordon, he would like this horse if the horse was trained, if the horse was broken in, if he was trained. So if it's like get a horse used to a saddle and bridle, that is part of being broken in. You're training them to get used to the saddle. To get used to, like you guys said, with the mittens and the gloves and the bats, like over and over. So in training, they would do this over and over. It's a process to get broken in. They're not broken in one day. Training takes several days. Okay? All right. Flip. So breaking in your house. Does this have anything to do with breaking in your house? No. Broken in, like somebody might say, he broke into my house. And that could be true, but it has a different meaning. Okay? So you got to think about the context of your story. All right, flip it over to the next page. Yes, Ace.
My dad broke in my door. He parked on his truck.
It's not good, huh?
It's an easy way to do it.
All right, paragraphs 4 through the rest of the story. So 4 through 10. There is a large portion. We've gotten started together, and I believe you guys can do the rest of this on your own. I want to see what you can do. Read 4 through 10. In each paragraph, what did I say?
Each paragraph.
In each paragraph, I want you to underline at least 3 details that tell you what you would see, what you would hear, what it would be like. Okay?
Yeah.
So you're reading the rest of the story by yourself and underlining at least 3 details in each paragraph. Everybody good? Any questions? Wyatt, what you got?
Can you use the bathroom?
No, not right now. Every day you ask this time. Yes, Bryson.
Is the thing on the head a picture of Brian?
Oh, yes, sorry. That's a bit and a bridle. Let me show you an example. A bit is like this metal piece that goes in their mouth. That's a bit, okay?
It helps you control.
Yes, and then the bridle are parts of these leather pieces that go up.
I thought
What
the
is
bridle
saddle?
went on their back.
And,
What?
So
That's the saddle.
No, that's the saddle.
okay, class.
No, that's
Stop. Y'all arguing is not going to help. And then we were talking about, I was trying to see if any of these pictures had a picture of the reins that we talked about last week. Here's this part that goes back. That's the reins, the part that the little girl had around her wrist from the last story. Okay, so go ahead and finish reading this story. Remember, you're underlining 3 details in each paragraph, and then we'll talk about it together at the end.